Welcome to the Popcorn Perspective. It's AK with another video on Star Wars. Star Wars: The Acolyte came out this today. With a two-episode drop, taking place towards the end of the High Republic era. So this is about 100 or so years before the Skywalker saga and the fall of the High Republic. Uh, Overall, I do think these two episodes back to back was a strong two episodes. I think if they released the first episode by itself, I definitely don't think it would have been received well, personally speaking. I personally do think that the three episode drop helped the show out a lot more than what I anticipated. Now, I went into this season with slightly higher anticipation or expectations than previous shows. Just because this is Disney's and Star Wars' first time ever dwelling into the High Republic era via live action. I know they have a couple of anime. I think they have one animated show taking place around the same time period, and a lot of books and comics and all that. But this is the first time we actually see the live action Star Wars take place in the High Republic era. So I was actually highly anticipating this show. Um, regardless of the controversy, there's always going to be controversy when it comes to Star Wars and Disney. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. So taking that aside, I do think these two episodes were pretty strong. Now, let me explain the characters. I'm not going to go into much of a review on the show, besides the fact that I just gave you one. It's more or less going to be a theory on how I believe this is going to end up ending, or how this is going to where this is going to end up at. Um, so we're two episodes end of 8 episode season. We have a pretty good cast of characters so far. We have Amanda Steinberg playing Osha and May. So that is a reveal that happens at the end of episode one and takes into more consideration in episode two. But Osha and May are twin sisters separated at birth. May is the antagonistic character of the show. She apparently, due to the backstory that was revealed in episode one and episode two, set up a fire and at their home base, so wherever planet they were from, and she sets a fire that tragically kills her family, Osha and May's family. Mom, dad, all dies, and the Jedi who was on that planet protecting the planet. There's about four of them, and seemingly it seems like they thought May passed away or perished in the fire, and they rescued Osha. Amanda Steinberg kills it as both of these characters. Osha is a fairly down to earth, go lucky ish with go lucky person, but who carries a lot of trauma. Obviously, her sister died, or she thinks her sister died, and she went to Jedi Order. She was an apprentice, a Padawan for a while before she left the Order, which we still have not gone to. We have not dwelt into why she left the Order, Osha. But she's more of a protagonistic character, while we have May, who's the antagonist of the show. She's following some Sith leader. We don't know who he is. We don't know what his backstory is, but all we know is May is hunting down four Jedi's that he has set her up to do, and that's basically the show takes place. We see May take on Carrie Ann Moss's character Indara, Master Indara, um, and it was such a fun, such a cool fight scene. No lightsabers, all force related, and it was a very kung fu, very 80s 90s kung fu era style fight. And obviously you have Carry On Moss, Trinity for the Matrix. Seeing her with a lightsaber was amazing, though unfortunately she does die pretty immediately. She has a pretty cool back on one-on-one fight with May, though somehow May is able to outpower Carry On Moss's Endara. And it does show that Endara does have a little bit of ego and a pride to her. She thinks she's better, and that's something that we know Jedi's have. Jedi's has this preconceived uh, ego to them. We've seen this from shows like Ahsoka with Sabine. We've seen this with shows like Bad Batch. We've seen this shows with Rebel. We've seen this with with the prequels. Jedi's are a little bit too involved in their own heads, where they unfortunately this this time period, and they've already talked about two at the point of season episode two. Two Jedi's have already died by the hands of May. Yet, and we know these guys are going to be end up going to be Sith or Sith related creatures because we know that the May's master has a red lightsaber. So it's very interesting to show that some character like that of Yoda would not put two together to realize a Sith has returned. Remember, in Phantom Menace, they
The
said they
Sith
have
could have
not
returned
seen
without us knowing.
Sith in almost a century, a
Hard to
thousand
see the
years.
dark side
This takes
is.
place 100 years
We will use
before
all our
Phantom Menace.
resources to
So
unravel this mystery. We will
I'm
discover
look,
the
you know,
identity
just
of your
looking at
attacker.
logically, the
May the
ego,
force be with
the
you.
the hubris of the Jedi definitely is on
Master.
full view with the Master Indara's fight. She's very She knows she's masterful. She knows she's powerful, but she still gets assassinated by May due to her own ego and pride. I'm not taking out a lightsaber and maining or stopping May from doing what she's doing when she had the chance. She had the upper hand on May, but she kept toying with her just to see who she is versus ending what could be potential long-term problems, which we do know ultimately the Sith ends up winning. So I love the idea of showing just the ignorance or just the pride of the Jedi. And that's something I'm loving so far about the show because this takes place at their height. This is the height of their power. Nothing has stopped them before. What makes them think something's going to stop them now? So I love that thus far. Another thing I'm very interested in is I am very much enjoying the set design, the acting, and I'm loving the action. We haven't gotten much action. The very few action we got was between Kayon Moss's character and May, and then also another Jedi that I won't explain because I do think he has a lot going on for him. But Jedi Master Soul and May, they also have a very similar fight with no lightsaber, just force fighting. She's trying to attack him while he's trying to avoid his attacks. Same as Endar. Beautifully done. I love it. Now, like I said, I'm going to go more or less into the theory crafting on where I believe this show is going to go. So, Manager Cinto. We all know Manager Cinto from shows like The Good Place, where he plays Jason Medora, and he was so great as a character in that show. And I loved everything about him in the show, The Good Place with Joseph Mendoza. Jason Mendoza, so I'm glad to see him in this show as well. Now, it's interesting because I do think that we are going to get a lot more of his backstory. We're going to actually see who he is. So far, what we know about his character, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing any of these guys' names, but I think it's Crime or Craig Mayer. Anyways, he's seems to be a low life, just helping May out with some of her hits, and but he seems to have a great understanding. He seems to be very loopy, very just all over the place, which I think is an all in act. Um, Before I go into where I think his character's going to go, let me go more into depth on what the mystery of the show is. The mystery of the show is Osha and May, who were separated as a child. They are twins, and they were separated, which Amanda Seinberg plays both of them perfectly. Uh, but you have May working with a unknown hidden Sith master who is telling her to kill four Jedi's. Endara kill Master Soul and to kill what was his name? Master Torben and a Wookiee named Kilnaka, who's also a Jedi Wookiee, which is amazing because we haven't really seen a Jedi Wookiee since the Bad Batch and since Clone Wars. But it's kind of cool to see one live action. We have not really seen much of him yet, so I'm not going to go into detail on him. But we end episode one with May coming back or going back to her master, who wields a red lightsaber with the mask, and we've seen him all throughout the trailer, sprinkled in through the promos and the trailers and the teasers. And sure, you might say this could be just another one of those Marok or the Clone Trooper X who is behind the mask theories that we've seen multiple times in the past 2 3 years. But it goes to question: who is the guy behind the mask? Who is the master? We know for every Sith apprentice, there's a master. Siths work in two. And we know the master is there with the mask on, but we also know, back to Crimea, Manny Jacinto's character, the smuggler who's keeping an eye on May and helping May and has a little more understanding of what's going on. He knows about May's hit list of four. He knows that she's attacking Jedi's. He has a fairly good understanding of the Force when he discusses to her about he thinks he is pure and one with the force, and that's the only way you're going to penetrate is to show him that you're not peaceful, you're not one with the force. And whatever mistake that Master Torben made, he is well aware of that mistake, which May uses to her advantage when she convinces a mute Torben. He took a vow of silence and a vow of state of force meditation over a decade. So the fact that's called the Barash vow. So the fact that he is partaking in the Barash vow, where he's floating in silence for over a decade after repent of what something happened 16 years ago when they were separated. She came to him, convinced him to take a poison. His first time breaking the oath was basically saying, "I do apologize. I know what needs to be done," and he takes the poison. Something that Karamar told her. He thinks he's one with the forest. He thinks he's peaceful, but he's not. And that shows me that Crymeyer has far more to give, and he's far more of an interesting character. I think he is one of my most interesting characters. And my theory goes is Crymeyer is the master, the guy behind the mask. Sith work in two. Why would there be three quote unquote acolytes or two? I mean, two quote unquote acolytes apprentices to the Sith master. Sure, you could say he's training both of them, and they're gonna have both of them, one of them take each other out, kind of like what you see with the Inquisitors. I don't buy it. He knows too much for him just to be a low life smuggler. He seems to know understand more of the Force than she understands, and she's been apparently very Force sensitive, and she's able to assassinate a Jedi. So she's very powerful, May. So I wanted to keep an eye on that character, man. Jacinto's Crimea. I don't trust him. Obviously, he's a bad guy. He's working with May, but there's more to meet the eye with this character, and I'm loving the way he's portraying him as just a loopy, just random, low life weirdo who's just living on this planet and helping May out with her hit on uh, Jedi Master Torben. So that's one of my theories. He is the guy behind the mask, and he is the master. And if he is the master, which Sith master is he? Plagueis? We'll see. We'll see. Now, another character I mentioned previously here is Jedi Master Soul, played by, and I do apologize, Mr. Lee, if I mispronounced his name, but I do believe it's Lee Jungjae. Um, you'll know him from Squid Game. He was the main character from Squid Game, also a great show. If you've not seen it, but um, he plays a more intelligent Jedi, I would say. He's a more of a he's more of he has a lot of complication with his emotions. Very much so like Qui-Gon Jinn. He understands that the Jedi Order has their ways of doing things, but he disagrees on their bureaucracy, red tapes, their pridefulness. He's very much all about giving the best of his abilities to train and help and nurture somebody versus blind, no emotion, blind teachings. And he's very emotional. He has so much care for Osha, someone that he trained, someone he took from home
The
and
Jedi live in
trained
a
as an
dream.
apprentice until she left the order. So he feels like he has to repent as a master, and he wants to take back Osha, and he also wants to take on May. He
But
wants
an
to
acolyte
talk to May and see why or who she's working for and
kills
how
the
to guide her
dream.
path. Like he said, I thought May was dead. This is the thing I need to do. And
Star Wars
beautifully
The
done.
Acolyte,
He's
two
such a
episode premiere
well-written
Tuesday,
character for
only
these
on
two
Disney Plus.
episodes, and he you see he has a great relationship with all of his apprentices or his Padawans. We see Daphne Keene, we all know as Wolverine's daughter, X-23 from the Logan film. Daphne Keene plays Jackie, who is his new Padawan apprentice, and he has a great relationship with her. They have a great back and forth. She's very much a true Jedi. Do I have permission to speak? Yes, sir. This, that, questioning and asking questions and following orders. But you can tell he has a great respect for her. He laughs at her questioning. He smiles. He's very nurturing to her. Same as with Osha. He's very nurturing, loving. But he beats himself up by the fact that Osha left the order. So that's something we don't know. Why did she leave the order? Another character who I think is, I would say, he's probably the least favorite least favorite character so far, but it's Yord, Charlie Barnett's character, Yord Bandar. He is a Jedi Knight, recent of 2 years, so he just got promoted to Jedi Knight, and he's a Temple Guardian. With an amazing yellow lightsaber, to the Guardian lightsaber color. He's very by the book, and he's very untrusting, and that's why I feel like he might end up being one of my favorites. But so far as of now, he seems like he was once upon a time friends with Osha, and he has a interesting dialogue between him and Jackie, Daphne Keith's character. Jackie does not seem to be too fond of him. She was kind of upset by the fact that uh, Yord was going to accompany her and her master to try hunting down May and Osha. Oh, bring them back, I should say, not hunting. But there's something with that character. As of now, he really hasn't done much for me to care enough for him, so that's why I say he's probably my least favorite character of the show. Nothing against him. He hasn't done anything wrong for me to hate him. But interesting character. Let's just go with that. I don't know much about him, but he seems to be a little more emotional. He doesn't trust May. Osha, apologies. He doesn't trust Osha. He questions a lot when it comes to Soul's wisdom and Soul's teaching. So he's interesting, and also Soul sides with his Padawan Jackie when they're analyzing how to approach Crimeo's character when they find out that he's working with May. He sides with his Padawan versus a Jedi Knight. So I think there's going to be some animosity between the three of them further into the season. I think he's going to be a little more emotional and not liking the fact that a Padawan is getting more respect than a Jedi Knight, him. And I think his ego of working with a once Jedi left, a once upon a time Jedi, someone who left the Order, Osha, he seems like he just has a lot of issues working with a ex Jedi and working with Jackie. Interesting enough, but he hasn't done much enough for me to care too much with him. So we'll see. So basically, what episode two ends with is May is successful and she does kill she just killed Master Torben, the guy who took the vow, who's played by Dean Charles Chapman, as you know as Mr. King's Landing himself from Game of Thrones. Uh, Toma Baratheon. So it's cool to see him in the show too. Great actor. He really didn't do much this episode, but die. But I do feel like we're gonna get some flashbacks to what happened 16 years ago, what started up this whole thing, the separation of Osha and May, which makes me think maybe Soul and the West and the other three sense a lot of anger and hatred and darkness with May, so they might have tried killing May and stopping her, which could have caused a fire, which could have caused the killing of the village. That's my theory. We'll see. Which could be why May's on a dark path of revenge. Um, Another character who really didn't get much screen time, but I'm very interested in, and I know she's going to get screen time just based on that saber itself. But it is Vonestra. She was in a couple of the books, and she has a badass lightsaber. We have not seen it yet in the show, but her lightsaber is a whip. I'm really curious. I know we had that small clip that was released to a promo. I have not seen it yet. I've seen a still image of it, but I kind of refuse to watch all the spoily promos that they do towards the end of the promo season before the show is released. But I do know her whip lightsaber is true to fashion in the show, based on the image I saw. I can't wait to see her use it, but she really hasn't done much. But you could tell she's a senior member of the Jedi Order because she's over here calling in a small council meeting towards the end of episode 2, so she has a lot of pull in the council, but she's also very much by the book. As she tells Soul, come back to Coruscant, we'll convene with the Jedi, the small council, about how to approach this whole May situation. Issue is we already know where May's plan is. She's hunting out all the four Jedi who were stationed on her home planet with her and her sister Osha. We know something happened on the planet that caused the fire. As of now, we think it's May who caused the fire. I think it might be the Jedi's indirectly trying to maim or kill May that caused the fire. Like I said earlier, we shall see. But she is very by the book and tells Soul, come back to Coruscant, we'll discuss with the other masters to see our approach of action. He's like, we know who she's going after next. She killed two of the four. It's me and Kilnaka, the Wookiee Jedi. Those are the only two people left. Let me go to the planet where Kilnaka is. Let me approach him. We can discuss this since he's the one we need to protect, me and him. But unfortunately, the Jedi Order and their bureaucracy and their red tapes is not having it. Which another reason why I'm loving Solo, because you could tell Solo's not going to give a shit about what the Jedi Order says. He's going to do what he thinks is right, which is ultimately protecting his friend Kanaka. Kanaka we can see a small snippet of, but based on what we know, is he does live in solitary, which is odd. So now we see two of the Jedi's who had some issues with the Osha and with May. 16 years ago, we see Master Torvin and we see Master Kanaka, both two kind of lives in solitude. Torben with the the Barash vow, and Kanaka living in a solitary lifestyle. And then we also see Kirion Moss is on a distant planet as the only Jedi on said planet watching over. So it seems like after what happened 16 years ago was such a traumatic experience where a lot of the main four friends, so Kanaka, Torben, and Endara, something happened where they feel guilty about it. Another thing that I want to mention, Soul mentions briefly, is they did wipe all recollection of May in the Jedi books. So when they reported what happened in the fire on Osha's planet, and when they rescued Osha for her to be his new Padawan, they completely left out the fact that she has a twin sister named May, which is odd. We do know Jedi's like to keep secrets and all that fun stuff, but that's a big secret to keep. That she has a twin sister that caused apparently the fire that ignited everything that's going on. So I've listed a few of my theories out. Like I said, Quimir, I do believe he is the guy behind the mask, aka the Master. I do believe the four Jedi, Sol, Endara, Torben, and Kanaka, potentially might have sensed some darkness with May and tried to stamp it out before she grows up, causing the fire, which caused the destruction of the village, which separated Osha from her family, killing her family, and becoming a Padawan who left. That's my theories. Obviously, this is still early days, 2 episodes in. We're going to be in for an interesting journey. Let's go with that. The last thing I want to mention are the titles. I love the way they're titling the show. Episode 1 was Lost slash Found. Episode 2 was Revenge slash Justice. So they're going with the dark and light motif. Uh, Opposite motif here. We have lost, found. They're opposites. You either lose something or you find something. You have revenge or justice. Two very similar ideologies that are separated by a very moral compass. You don't want to push for revenge. You want to push for justice via a justice system, bringing them in to Coruscant and do a proper investigation, and not just going for revenge and killing somebody. So that's a dark and light pull as well, which makes me think episode 8 is going to be titled Light and Dark, or Dark and Light, since they're going with darkness first and lightness first with Lost Bound for revenge justice. But whatever. I do believe episode 8 is going to be dark slash light. We'll see. It's a small theory. It's just a titling issue. I like the titles. They're cool. I like what they're going for it. Interesting. Overall, I do gotta say the show so far, easy. So far, I would say about 7.5 out of 10. I would say definitely this is a theater popped. Not theater pop. I apologize. It's a home cooked popcorn. It's not like the the best show we've ever gone. It's not an Andor by any means. Well, it's definitely very interesting enough. It's very unique. It has a lot going for it, but I want to see it. I want to see the payoff before I say it's theater popped. As of now, I would say it's a 7.5. My biggest issue is the pacing, and I feel like a lot of episode one, episode two dialogues with a lot of repetition to it. We understand this is a whole new era of Star Wars. This is the High Republic, so they want to ease people into this new era of the Star Wars universe. So they're doing a lot of repetition, a lot of repeating of things, trying to break you in. I'm hoping they can kind of break away from that and episode three onwards, and they just take it as it is and expect us to follow along based on what is provided. Uh, but we'll see. Overall, so far pretty good. Pacing aside and dialogue aside can be worked on. The action has been great. The visuals have been great. The direction has been pretty good. The cinematography has been pretty good. Uh, the music has been pretty decent. It's not the Kinders, sadly. It's some. I'm not sure who exactly is doing the music here, but I do know it's not the Kinders, which sucks. I do think the Kinders are some of the best musicians or composers regarding Star Wars right now. But like I said, nothing against this guy. I think his name was I think it was like Michael Abels or Abels or something. Nothing wrong with him. So far, it's not my favorite music of any Star Wars series. I think I was spoiled from Bad Batch and Ahsoka, but overall, I gotta say the show definitely left me wanting more, and I think that's what they were supposed to achieve in a two-episode drop is drop enough mystery and enough intrigue to get you into episode three onwards. Like I said, if they released the first episode, I would have been very shaky on the show because I think the first episode was just way too much setup with a great introduction. Unfortunately, they killed off Carry On Moss a little too early, and they revealed the twin situation with Osha and May a little bit too early. I think personally, if this was a 10 episode arc, I think episode three would have been a good reveal for the twin separation and the dark and the light twin. I love the idea of the yin and yang. You have a dark twin, you have a light twin. Great idea of that. I just unfortunately wish that reveal, brilliant twist, was muddled in a little longer. I felt like if we had a little bit longer, maybe Osho did a crash of episode one. She doesn't meet her Jedi Master Soul until reunite with Soul until like episode three or four, where we kind of learn just based on the way the two characters Osha and May act and where they're located. We start including the fact that they might be sisters and twins, and then the big reveal happens at episode three when they see each other for the first time. That's how I would have done it personally. I think just
Star Wars
building
The
up that
Acolyte with a premiere Tuesday
Trist
only
would
on
have been a
Disney
little
Plus.
better. But I mean, the fact that they kind of did that pretty quickly, they kind of dropped that twist pretty early on. I think like literally the end of episode one or the beginning of episode two is when that twist was kind of revealed. Makes me think there's bigger turns and twists that are approaching the show. So that's my take on the episode one and episode two of Acolyte, titled like I said, Lost, Last Found, and Revenge, Last Justice. What did you think about these theories? Do you agree with anything? Do you have any issues with the show so far? Leave your comments, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm going to be out of town next week, so My co-host Jay, he's going to be going ahead and reviewing episode 3 next week. So keep an eye on his review. I know he has a lot to say about the show so far, so definitely listen to what he has, because I definitely think he might have a polarizing take on the show. So I'm very curious to see his take. Well, thank you guys. I'll definitely see y'all in a couple of weeks. Thanks.